Ah. Our lead story exposes a harrowing incident involving Verizon. In a shocking breach of trust, you're the real MVPs. Back us up at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a GNC insider. Are you feeling the buzz? Well, we are live and lit with those fresh modern apps from podcastapps.com. Join our value for value movement just by hopping onto a fresh podcast app. To all our amazing listeners out there, big virtual hug. Dive into our digital hub, of course, at geeknewscentral.com. Get on board. Don't forget to follow and subscribe via your favorite podcast app. That's always the easiest thing to do to stay abreast of the show. You can always slide into our chat room at geeknews.chat. We've got that social interaction going on again at geeknews.chat. Have feedback? Ping me at geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, or at geeknews on X, or find me lounging over on Facebook. Don't forget to check out our partner shows, all linked at geeknewscentral.com, and a massive salute to GoDaddy, the longest running continuous sponsor of podcasts, where savings begin here. Lock in those savings today. Get over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Again, get the best savings starting today. A penny for a brand new domain name. A penny for a brand new domain name. Now, we have rumors there is going to be a change. There is going to be a change. The $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting may be headed for better days, but I think there's a little bit time left. $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $1.99 a month economy hosting the first year with a free domain. You can get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business to business plus plans. Again, get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, all available again via my promo codes at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. So here's the skinny. I got a big upload going on right now while we're live. 15 hours is kind of ironic. That is, the opening story tonight. But Kirk had a job at Verizon for 25 years doing collections. He was the guy that people talked to, or he talked to, when their bill was overdue. And I'm sure he could probably write a book on all of the stories that he's heard over the years. I know that his mental health is in a much better state. Or at least I'm assuming so, from not having to talk to customers all day about their bill. And I want to congratulate him. He's got a new job as a producer for Talk Radio 1210 WPHT in Philly. So it's a part-time job, but congratulations to Kirk on his retirement for Verizon and his new gig at Talk Radio 1210 WPHT in Philly. Now, if any of you are looking for any production help, Kirk is the man, and I'm sure he could use some additional support and help. I believe his email address here at Geekness. Let me look here. I believe I leave on the 5th, yes, and I get back, I think, on the 12th. So be out in Vegas for the the CES show. It's not the Consumer Electronics Show anymore. It's the CES show. So old habits die hard. Yes, back in the studio. Glad to be back. Fighting a horrible case of heartburn today. Oh my God. It's been a Tums sort of day. I don't know why, to be kind of frank with you, but yeah, sometimes it goes like that. All right, so let's get into the stack of stuff. Obviously, this lead article about Verizon accepting a fake search warrant and gave out customers' new address and phone numbers pretty bad. And this misstep is detailed in an FBI affidavit. The document, according to 404 Media, identifies Robert Michael Glauner as a stalker. He reportedly met his victim, identified as MGD, online. The two engaged in a short web-based romantic relationship before MGD ended things in August or September. This individual allegedly spent the next several weeks trying to contact him, as well as MGD's parents and workplace. MG changed her phone number 4 times, but this individual somehow found her new contact each time except for the last. That's when he reportedly initiated his fake search warrant to Verizon security assistant team. He posed as a detective working on a homicide impersonation case. And then on October 5th, VSAT handed Glauner MGD's phone number, phone records, home address, and text in which he threatened suicide and personal harm against MGDT. Then he drove from New Mexico to North Carolina, where MGD reportedly resides, and drove to the victim's home with a black folding razor blade knife, methamphetamines, and rope. By then, law enforcement had been made aware of his concerning behavior and stationed officers outside of the victim's home, where they apprehended him and took him into custody. The police, or the FBI, says it doesn't take an intimate knowledge of law enforcement to spot the warning signs all over the warrant. Not only did he send it from a private email address, but the email itself was sloppy. So, but again, Verizon is in trouble here and should have rejected this warrant. And this is bad news. Space station crew proves missing tomato wasn't eaten by an astronaut. When Frank Rubio, a NASA astronaut, Expedition 68 flight engineer, stood accused of losing or eating a crucial component of a space agriculture study, defied logic on so many levels. But he basically had been jokingly accused of eating it. But after his return in September 2023, with the tomato assumably gone forever, the good ribbing continued. Well, guess what? They found it. It's been put in a plastic bag. They don't say where they found it, but on December 6th, the 25th commemoration of the space station, the tomatoes finally reappeared. They didn't take a picture of it. There's no word yet on whether it's shriveled or a squishy blob, or even if where it finally showed itself. The tomato's fellow clan members, which were cultivated using soilless hydroponic and aeroponic techniques, are part of the Veg 5 study and mission enabling establishing agriculture production in space. And so anyway, the tomato sphere, I guess they found the tomato. So good news on that part. Education, access assessment, law enforcement, biometric definition will be subject to stricter requirements. Anything presenting a clear threat to fundamental rights falls in the unacceptable tier and is not permitted. AIs in this category include predictive policing, workplace emotional recognition systems, manipulation of human behavior to circumvent free will, or categorizing people based on qualities including political, religious persuasion, race, or sexual orientation. The act will also require labels of deep fakes and AI-generated content, while chatbot users must be made aware they are conversing with a machine. Meanwhile, foundational models used in AI that require training upwards of 10 to the 25th power will face additional regulation in 12 months' time. And of course, there are fines. Being afoul of the act are anywhere from 1.5% of the global turnover, or 8 million to 7%, or 37.7 million, depending on the violation and developer's capacity. And is simply entitled to share of profit distributions. We know that Microsoft has invested upwards of $10 billion, mostly in computing power, to train their models. And of course, to see a return, Microsoft is shoehorning ChatGPT in every corner of its portfolio. And we know that the debacle over OpenAI has rattled Microsoft. As such, Windows vendors parachuted a non-voting observer into OpenAI's board. At the end of last week, the UK's Competition Markets Authority launched a consultation to ask interested parties to comment on Microsoft's relationship with the ChatGPT developer. The FTC has already begun investigating OpenAI's ChatGPT over privacy and reputational concerns. So this is ongoing along with their look at Microsoft's $69 billion buy of Blizzard. So we will see where this all leads. YouTube creators will now have a way to chill the comment system. In other words, they're going to be able to pause. YouTube introduced a new pause feature, allowing creators to halt new comments while keeping existing ones in place. The pause option is accessible in the comment settings of the YouTube app, watch page, in the YouTube Studio on desktop and mobile. The updates include renaming the settings, but the core functionality remains unchanged. So they can pause comments. Is it only when they're live or when they've been posted? So very, very interesting move by YouTube. Volkswagen and Renault could be teaming up to make one of the cheapest electric vehicles so far. They're looking to put a vehicle on the road between $17,000 and $17,000 US or $17,000 US to $21,500 US, or under 20,000 euros when it goes on sale in Europe. So that's a pretty aggressive price. At the event, Leo announced the return of the Twingo badge, which would signify Renault's entry into affordable small EV space. Again, around 20,000 euros. So time will tell. This is just for a little itty bitty 2-door vehicle. Potentially is what it will look like. Maybe even a 4-door version as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this on the offering front. A $12 billion. So anyway, I have the full story in the show notes. It has often been said that the universe is full of water. This probably proves and enhances it quite a bit. If you have a phone that supports 5G, well, a lot of them have a security flaw. More than 700 smartphones powered by Qualcomm and MediaTek hardware might be affected, and these are some significant bugs. And even though Qualcomm has already and MediaTek have issued a patch, it may be until 2024 before you see them on iPhone and or Android. Not a lot you can do about this, but these vulnerabilities are 14 in total that have been reported. And threat actors can use the vulnerability to deceive a 5G-enabled device to connect to a rogue base station. In other words, a rogue repeater, basically acting as a 5G base station. So, not good. Ferdinand, hello. Thanks for saying hello in the chat today. Appreciate it. There's a good article over on TechWriter talking about Russia's cyber warfare tactics. So it's in for the long haul. Here is informing about 2.5 million individuals that their personal information was compromised. The incident was identified on May 9th, 2023. Why is it taking so long for this to make the center stage? I don't know. Louisville-based Northern Healthcare, which runs 140 locations in greater Louisville and southern Indiana, said determined attackers exfiltrated files containing the personal information of current and former patients and employees. In some instances, the database include driver's license numbers, government IDs, financial account numbers, digital signatures, IDs, financial account numbers, digital signatures, and records. So they did not pay the ransom. But the question is, why wasn't all this healthcare stuff encrypted? That's the question that I really want answered. Why wasn't it encrypted? That's one for the books, really, to be asked. Wi-Fi 7 is nearly here. 2024 could be the year wireless speeds get turbocharged. Well, considering Wi-Fi 6 hasn't been employed very much, the new Wi-Fi standard will be finalized in Q1 with more devices supporting no doubt incoming. So, 802.11be will become a concrete standard by the end of Q1 next year. How much faster is it is Wi-Fi 7? Well, it offers speeds up on a road that we're not supposed to be using these features, and people are still able to use it. According to research carried out by the Post, Tesla has acknowledged that auto steer, autopilot key features indeed for use on controlled access highways with a center divider, clear lane markings, and no cross traffic. But participants are unlikely to operate as intended. And there's no exclusion zones where it's automatically turned off. This is part of the problem. So, again, lots of discussions with the National Highway Transportation Safety Board. And people are really, really looking at this. And some Tesla employees have come out and said, hey, it's not ready for prime time. Meanwhile, the AV industry, not the audio video, the auto driving vehicle, the AV industry sends an SOS to Pete Buttigieg. The autonomous vehicle industry is in trouble. A coalition of lobbying group sent Buttigieg a letter last week imploring to support AV development, a risk being outpaced by China. Subtext, of course, is the crisis facing GM subsidiary Cruise. The letter makes no mention of the situation with Cruise, instead focusing on the looming threat of competition from China. Signatories include AVIA, the Autonomous Vehicle Industry Association, which represents Cruise, Waymo, Zox, Motional, and others. The department for allowing to return to X. Musk did ask him some stuff about the Sandy Hook shootings, wanting him to explain himself. Of course, he lost a big lawsuit, $1 billion in fines. And, but it's interesting that Elon at this point, and I'm going to kind of side with Elon a little bit in saying that freedom of speech, we've said that on this show a lot. This country supports freedom of speech. Its companies allowed to allow people to invoke freedom of speech on their platforms. But freedom of speech does not absolve you of essentially lawsuits and anything else that could come across from putting out misinformation, the bigger ramifications of censorship. Twitter, before in its previous ownership, was basically the government's right-hand man in censoring content and silencing voices. So we can only have it one of two ways. Put up with censorship or support platforms that are about open and free speech. I know many of you would disagree with me, but I don't personally care for Alex Jones, but I think he has the right to say what he wants to say. And obviously he said some stuff that got him into a libel lawsuit, and he's got $1 billion to pay. Now, whether or not he'll ever be able to pay it, I don't know. But at the same time, you can say stuff, but you're responsible for what you say, right? And I think that's important to be allowed. I think we're all big kids and we can determine stuff on our own. Moving on here, Amazon's having a huge holiday sale for one of the busiest shopping days of the year. It's Green Monday. And Amazon is discounting best-selling gift ideas. So able to be fixed. Google Drive Help Center posts the company advises customers to launch the Drive desktop app, click recover from backups under settings, and see if a recovery process starts. If this strategy works, users' files will be found under a new Google Drive recovery folder. If it doesn't work, users can try an advanced fix with the desktop app command line. Here, users must enter one of 3 commands, which are meant to recover files from account backups. Drive output path or desktop app data path. If files are recovered, they'll end up in the app logs folder under recovery.txt. If that doesn't work, users are encouraged to restore their files using a Windows or Mac OS Time Machine backup. But again, most folks that have documents on those cloud services do not have the actual data backed up. So Google employees have stopped replying to related threads and even locked some to prevent further commenting. Some lost part of their master thesis, missing their data, but they don't even have the comfort knowing that Google is on their side. For now, it appears Google's more interested in conducting damage control than resolving a trust-destroying bug. So always back up your data, even if it's in the cloud, ladies and gentlemen. FTC sounds alarm over dangerous QR codes used by scammers. Be careful on what you're clicking on or acting on. People are putting fake QR codes on a whole variety of things. They're putting them on parking, payment meters, and then basically clicking into related accounts. Data stolen returns have been confirmed to come from DNA relatives. Profiles indicate how folks may be related, of which 5.5 million sets of data was stolen. Data swiped in the breach includes names, ancestry information, self-reported location, birth years, links to family trees, anything that might have been included in self-descriptions added to users' profiles. But a side-by-side comparison of 23andMe's new terms of service dated November 30th and its previous from October teased out a new dispute resolution period of 60 days during which aggrieved customers agreed to first attempt to negotiate any dispute informally before either party initiates any arbitration or court proceedings. You have to opt out if you don't agree to these changes. Determine the email within 30 days of being notified of the change. So just be aware. If your data was stolen for 23andMe, you may involuntarily agree to new terms of services if you don't act within 30 days. Now, I don't know what happens if you decline the new terms of service. That wasn't laid out. Another FTC article. Amazon practices are the essence of competition, it tells a judge. I'll read that again. Amazon's practices are the essence of competition. Amazon's asking a judge to dismiss the antitrust case filed by the FTC in 17 states, arguing the case fails to allege any anti-competitive conduct or harm. According to the motion to dismiss, the practice about this, Beeper Mini has restored its iMessage app for Android and makes it free, but will it last? Well, there was a hole, and Apple closed the hole, and the app became ineffective. But they put a new app out. It quickly racked up over 100,000 downloads. And before they closed the hole, it racked up 100,000 downloads. Apple confirmed Saturday night they closed the loophole, and Beeper Mini was dead. Again, it was an iMessage app for Android. This afternoon, Beeper Mini is back thanks to a new app update, which does restore services. The update currently requires a side loading, as it's still being reviewed by the Play Store, removes phone number support, and leaves users to continue with iMessage via their Apple ID. No Apple ID sign-ins and using the phone number on your Android phone, but it's impressive to see it's working at all nonetheless. So Beeper Mini, keep an eye on that one if you want to do iMessage on your Android. Meanwhile, TikTok becomes the first non-game mobile app to generate $10 billion in consumer spending. The short video social phenomenon has added nearly $4 billion this year alone. It's all from virtual coins used to purchase gifts for the platform's content creators. Wow. That's amazing. So, by surpassing the 10 billion gross revenue milestone, TikTok has become one of just 5 mobile apps that done so, and the first that wasn't a mobile game. It sits tops the mark alongside mobile giants Candy Crush from King Activision Blizzard for the all-time top earner at $12 billion. Honor of Kings from Tencent, Monster Strike from X-Flag, and Clash of Clans from Supercell. So that's an amazing, amazing numbers. Beyond all the spending, TikTok coins, various sums that comprise the app's numerous one-time in-app purchases. As it doesn't offer subscription, the app users spend those coins on virtual gifts for content creators on the platform who can then trade them for virtual diamonds and convert them into fiat currency. TikTok remains 50% of the payout amount. TikTok's most popular IAP in 23 has been a spend of 1,321 coins for $19.99, and it makes a quarter of its revenue. Digital coins. He made that much money just on people donating to other creators. Google's top search trends for 2023, not, again, search trends. Well, it was always about news, movies, shows, games, music. But one of those is top trending how often. The top one was, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Why would people be looking for that? How often is the World Baseball Classic? How often is a blue moon? How often is the world? That's if they don't continue to support the station. They just also add the option for both the development and production of a vehicle under a cost-plus contract. While the agency is not given a reason for the change, they say the revision maximizes value to the government by allowing flexibility in proposing contract types. As such, the arrival of U.S. deorbit vehicle at the end of 2029 will be just in the nick of time for a 2030 deorbit. There's an interesting article about, and this is what intrigued me. It says, want to hear the wonders of deep space? This music is made from NASA's telescope data. And I thought, wow, I want to hear this. And what it is an orchestra that is basically a composition played up on 7 instruments, and each thing in the composition, which is kind of unremarkable when I listen to it, is certain. They basically have a cross definition, mark the Jewish Festival of Lights while aboard the International Space Station. Obviously, you cannot light a candle on the ISS, so it's a felt candle that's being lit. And so it's kind of cool. For those of you of the Jewish faith, this should be interesting for you to look at. There's a video on it, and link will be in the show notes. Jury begins to weigh evidence in Google antitrust trial focused on Android App Store payments. So, again, they began their deliberations before the 9-person jury in San Francisco started to weigh the evidence laid out during the 4-week trial. Lawyers on opposing sides of the legal battle spent out 2 hours making their closing arguments. In the filed by Epic Games, the maker of the popular Fortnite video game. Epic lawyer Gary Bornstein depicted Google as a ruthless bully that plays a bribe and block strategy to discourage competition against its Play Store for Android apps. Google lawyer Jonathan Kravis attacked Epic as a self-interested game maker trying to use the courts to save itself money while undermining an ecosystem to spawn billions of Android smartphones that compete against Apple and its iPhone. So we'll see where this one goes. Persona AI. So anyway, good write up on this, and also information about Grok One, a new Chat GPT for X, formerly Twitter premium users. So anyway, you can definitely check these two articles out about AI developments. Still dealing with a major amount of jet lag, folks. This one kicked my butt coming home. So I'm hanging on by a thread here tonight, but I want to thank all of you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being part of the family. Thank you for being dealing with my crazy schedule. We're on schedule all the way through Christmas and New Year's. Doesn't look like the shit next time. Thanks for being here. Take care, and we'll be back with you Thursday for another